what I've read about Mosaic 2 is the belief is it's going to bring down cost of entry, barrier to entry to general aviation, which I think is much needed. You look at the most common available aircraft out there, the most sold general aviation, certified general aviation aircraft, Cirrus SR-20, SR-22s are a million plus now.
Yep.
If you're getting into an SR-22, SR-22 turbo, 182s, which have been the workhorse of single engine general aviation for decades, they're six, seven, $800,000. 172s are approaching half a million, and it's just not an affordable hobby for people anymore. So, how does Mosaic help bring down that barrier to entry and get more people back into aviation?
So we all know time is money, right? We don't always think of it that way, but time to introduce something. So, as I was saying, it's not the regulatory requirement. It's not that my wing can't fall off. That's really the requirement, by the way. Not how many G's or whatever. It's that the wing can't fall off, right? Like
Right.
that, like no wing fall off, right? I can either do that by flipping up the aircraft over and putting a bunch of sandbags on it, and and taking it to ultimate strength. Hey, see, it meets that requirement. Or I can come up with this multi-year process in certification, which is what we do. We put it in something called a wiffle tree, and we bend it back and forth, and we come up with life limits, and we validate models and all this. Well, you can just put sandbags on the wing and find out where it breaks. Okay, like we can do this simple, and that's always been allowed, but not like it's again. This is in the, but that's not the way we do it, right? Like we keep. Here's the is a term that I like to bring up is precision is not safety. And we keep adding precision to our processes. So moving the decimal points over does not necessarily give me, it's a good quality measurement. You need precision, but to what extent? Okay. So two things, time and precision that, that a regulator may be requiring gets avoided. Okay. And so if I can produce my new product much quicker, I don't have to have staff being paid doing nothing basically. Well, I mean they're doing stuff, but doing not that's getting the product out there, not making deliveries, which can lower the price. Now, I'm not one who thinks everything's going to completely change because of Mosaic and it's all you're going to get a cheap aircraft. Well, it's not going to happen. There's still going to be expensive aircraft, but are we going to get a $400,000 four-place aircraft instead of $1 million four-place aircraft? Yeah, that's a significant change, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a significant reduction, but it's still not like everybody can fly it. But what'll happen is, well, that gets used in a couple of years, and then they sell the, instead of buying, I fly a 60-year-old airplane, 61-year-old airplane. Like no, we don't have to have the average age of the fleet to be 50 some years of age. We can new is safe. And I think
Yeah.
that's another thing that we can do, and we'll see the reduction. When LSA 1 came out, I'm calling it 1 and 2 now, but 1, and after the first year, 110 new aircraft got introduced. Okay, and what I'm saying 110, that was on the FAA website that we had listed and we had signed off on those. Now, some of them are powered parachutes and trikes, and like not all of those are airplane models, but 110. Like, I expect to see something like that. And what'll happen is we'll see a big push. We'll see a whole bunch come out. We'll see the marketplace shrink again into a whole. And when that happens, we'll get the next reduction. Where's the next reduction to come from? Volume. Piper Cherokees and Cessna 172s were very affordable in the 70s. Well, why? Well, when you make 10,000 of them a year, okay, and surprise, surprise, you can order half your parts out of the automotive catalog, okay, which is, there's nothing wrong. There's no regulatory prohibition on that, but we stopped doing that because of liability and requirements, and I can't order the door handle from them, like, well, why not, right? I mean, we're not talking the engine, right? We're talking simple equipment, gauges, all that stuff, and we'll see that return to that because the new system will allow that, and I think we'll see a set of stages where we'll get more affordable, more accessible aircraft. If nothing else, we have to replace the fleet that's out there. Trying to replace it with just home built. Love home built, that's great. But individual people building in their garages and their hangars and all that isn't going to replace that whole fleet out there of the aircraft that we love to operate. We're going to need factory production, and I think we'll see as the volume goes up. That'll make it easier for the engine manufacturers, the electronics, everything. Again, volume makes a huge difference in bringing those prices down.